It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day. And today I am back in Coronado at the iconic Isabella apartment installation. This has just been such a beautiful, beautiful installation. It has been meticulously maintained by Sylvia, who is not an employee of mine, but just a dear friend of the owner. And I've met with her today, and with COVID restrictions, I haven't been here in over a year, and Sylvia has done a spectacular job of keeping everything neat and tidy. But, you know, over the last year and a half, there have been some issues, and she was a little unsure about what to do with some of the plants. So I thought this would be a really good time to talk to you all about what to do when your sedums and your graptos and your sedivarias, all your rosettes start to do this, start to go leggy. Now, here in San Diego, we are coastal, so I don't have to worry about hardening plants off. I don't have to worry about rain. I don't have to worry about freezing temps or hot temps. So I can literally work with these plants as cuttings right away. If you live in an area where you have some challenges with your plants, you're going to want to make sure that you do not tackle them unless the temperatures are going to be cool between 50 and 80 degrees 24/7, and that there's no risk of a lot of rainfall or freezing temperatures on the horizon. So this is a Graptopetalum superbum. Beautiful, beautiful plant. The best thing to do first is just cut off the rosettes. These also are a great plant for leaf propagation because there is so much moisture in the leaf. You can take the leaves that have fallen off and place them on some dry soil in the shade and watch for pups if you are so inclined. Okay, so I'm only going to work with the larger ones when I reset this plant. I want to give them the best chance of success. So I'm going to take and pull out these branches and these stems, and these smaller ones I'm going to take and put them in a little arrangement or off in the side yard in the cool temperatures in the nursery so that they can get a little bigger before I work with them in an arrangement. But there's still a lot of plant material you can see here. Look at all of those. They're just a little too small for me to work with right now, but I'm not gonna get rid of them. Ooh, there's a nice big one. Work with that. Now, what I'm doing is highly subjective. If you like the trunky, aged look, then by all means let it ride. You know, there's no reason why you can't leave it alone if you're liking the look. I just know that many of you, like me, when we're working in a tapestry, prefer the look of the compact plant. Look at this little Dazzy phylum. This isn't a plant that I usually use. Sylvia planted this. It is so precious and a tad delicate, but the sedum is hardy, so it would work in areas where the temperatures get very cold. Okay, this little yellow Adolphi looks pretty tight, as does this little Echeveria here. So I'm just gonna go after this gigantic Grapto. Woo-wee! So also this soil's quite moist, which is okay for me replanting my succulents, but we'll want to be sure and not apply a heavy amount of water to these new plants until they have a chance to reestablish a root system. So a month or so, they can take the water from their leaves to promote new roots, and then we can water as usual. That already looks so much better, doesn't it? Look at that. But we aren't done. We're gonna fill these little sections in here, fluff up the soil, and this is where my saying, if your succulent stands up, you've done your job, comes in. We're just gonna take these beautiful new cuttings, check them for insects. I don't see a single insect, and we're just gonna set them right back, just like that. That is, without a doubt, the most gratifying thing you can do.
Spreading Creva was.
Oh, spreading Creva? Yeah, that's pretty gratifying too. Creva's that white rock that I use, the real fine
granite.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you should let people know because they get a little upset.
Right, if they don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't have any Creva on this installation because I used this Desert Gold 3/8. And the only way Creva works is if you're using a really dark base rock. Otherwise, it just kind of blends in. And these river rocks were they were an add-on at the request of the owner because people were not being neighborly and allowing their dogs to come up in here and use this as a toilet. And the rock was ending up all over the sidewalk. So we attempted to add a barrier visually so people would get the hint. And it seems to be working for the most part. Okay, so yeah, you know, you're just gonna pop these in wherever you want. Oftentimes you'll have some left over too after you've recreated your masterpiece, and those leftover plants can be used really in any context that you desire. You can give them away to friends or put them somewhere else in the garden, pot them up, make an arrangement, whatever you want. Then, you know, one of my favorite things, because I'm kind of OCD, is the picking up of the detritus and the reconfiguring of the ribbon so that the installation looks brand new again. All right, moving down the way. Look at this hot mess. Woo-wee. Look at all of these stems. Yikes, right? We're gonna fix that. Now, this, look at this echeveria. It doesn't even have any roots. This is literally just a cutting. And first thing I'm going to do is remove all of the brown leaves underneath. And then look, we got babies all over the trunk of this plant. It's been my experience though that these don't typically amount to anything. I have not had luck. You all were with me through quarantine when I tried to grow plants off a stem, and in the summer they just all desiccated. But I am an optimist, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this stem right below that last baby. And it looks nice and clean. There's no rot. And so I've effectively made this a lot shorter. So now I can set it back in. Yes, some of the dirt has covered some of the little babies, but doesn't that look 100? All right. And you know, what I want to do is kind of retain that look of the tapestry, just the flowing movement ribbon of the plant material. Look at this. Now, this is a ghosty, a graptosedum, and these are notorious for cresting. Isn't that spectacular? And see how it fell down? Like that, and then it established some roots here. What it was trying to do is reestablish contact with the soil. That was never going to happen for this plant though, because there's 2 or 3 inches of rock for it to get through. So by cutting this and resetting it and burying this in soft loamy soil, I'm actually doing the crest a solid. Okay, so, you know, this crest can be handled like any other cutting. Just make a nice little home for it, loosen up that soil, and stick it in the ground. Ooh, ah. And now those roots that were desperately trying to find soil have found it. And look how beautiful that looks against this anti-syphilitica. Love that. All right, and now we'll connect these plants. And so what I have in effect done is just extended the ribbon of plants. See, all the way through. Voila. And here we have a ungroomed Dazzlerian longissimum. Now, This is another example of preference. This plant is fine and healthy. It doesn't need to be limbed up, but I do like the idea of this plant being limbed in a tapestry because it does over time get a very, very beautiful trunk. Also, you can see that it's kind of infringing on those beautiful yellow sedums in front of it. My rock work is hidden, so I'm going to show you what it looks like to limb one of these up, and then you can decide for yourself if it's a look that you like. So I'm going up about 7 or 8 leaves. You do you. It doesn't matter if you take off 2 rows or 10 rows. It's, you know, the question is what looks good to you in your particular situation. So I took off more than I left on, but you can decide for yourself if you like the way that looks. And if you do, do it. And if you don't, don't. But looks like I'm going to be making some baskets for Christmas. This has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity reporting from Coronado, California with your succulent tip of the day.